So there's a repeated refrain in our story today. Whenever God tells Moses to look somewhere, you can say with me, I'm looking. I'm looking. Moses was an old man. He was 120 years old. He'd led the people out of Egypt and through the wilderness for 40 years. And he was really tired. He was tired of eating manna. He was tired of eating quail. He was really tired of listening to the people grumble and complain in the wilderness. All Moses wanted was to get some decent rest. Moses was also worried. Moses was so old, and he knew he wouldn't live forever. Already, his brother Aaron had died, and the people who had left Egypt with him, they had died too. There were all these young people, and they had their own ideas about how to follow God. Moses worried that they would forget their way and that somehow God's promises to the people might not come true. God spoke to the worried and tired Moses. Moses, look up. I'm looking. I'm looking. Moses looked and saw. Moses saw the young man Joshua. Joshua was a young leader of the people. Joshua shone like there was a light within him, and Moses knew that God would be with Joshua as he led the people. Moses put his hand on Joshua and blessed him. Then God said, Moses, look ahead. I'm looking. I'm looking. Moses looked and saw. God was showing him a path out of the camp of the Israelites and through the wilderness into the hills. So Moses followed the path. Moses followed the path for a long time and was getting tired of walking when God said, Moses, look up. I'm looking. I'm looking. Moses looked and saw. There was a great mountain in front of him. God wanted him to climb up the mountain, so Moses climbed for a long, long time until he got to the top of Mount Nebo. Moses was tired of climbing the mountain, and God said, Moses, look north. I'm looking. I'm looking. Moses looked and saw. Moses saw the land to the north. He could see Gilead, Dan, and Naphtali. I will give this land to the people of Israel, said God. Moses, look to the west. I'm looking. I'm looking. Moses looked and saw. Moses saw the land to the west. He could see all the way to the great sea. He saw Manasseh, Ephraim, and Judah. I will give this land to the people of Israel, God said. Moses, look to the south. I'm looking. I'm looking. Moses looked and saw. Moses saw the land to the south. He could see all the Negeb, the plain and the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees as far as Zor. I will give this land to the people of Israel, said God. Moses, look forward. I'm looking. I'm looking. Moses looked and saw. It was like Moses could see into the future. He could see the promised lands filled with the people of God, and the people were happy. They built homes and planted fields. They were able to harvest plentiful crops and shared everything they had with one another. No one was hungry or lonely or afraid. Everyone had what they needed. They lived in peace, comfort, joy, and justice. God said, Moses, look on. I'm looking. I'm looking. Moses looked and saw. Moses was filled with hope and joy and comfort because he knew that God had made a promise. And when God makes a promise, the promise comes true. And so it was that as a very old man, a very tired man, and a very hopeful man, Moses died and was buried. And the people of God mourned him. And it was always remembered that Moses was the greatest prophet God had ever sent to the people of God.